Konnichiwa. Tonight I'm going to show you a few ways to look up a Chinese character if you're seeing a Chinese character for the first time and have no idea what it means or how to read it. So there's a lot of ways to look it up, and the first there are three major ways to look it up, the easiest ways. And one is to count the total number of strokes in a Chinese character. The second way would be to look up a Chinese character by its parts. And then the third way would be to, if you had a digital copy of the Chinese character, would be to cut and paste that into a kanji online kanji dictionary. And those would be the three. One is to count the strokes, second is to look it up by parts, and the third again is to cut and paste that into an online kanji dictionary. So we're gonna try this with this particular Chinese character, which I know what it means, but you might not. If you haven't been doing the assignments, then you would be unfamiliar with this. But if we were to kind of go through this, and if we were to try the stroke count method of figuring out this Chinese character, we would count the number of strokes that are there, and then we would look it up that way. Now, sometimes counting the strokes is not easy. So, for example, this line that they just did, that's one stroke. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. So there's 14 strokes. Now, if you miscounted that, it's going to make it very difficult, but we know it's 14 strokes, so that's how we're going to look it up. So if I then go to this site called jisho.org, and this is a pretty good website, you can look up Chinese characters by the number of strokes. And there's a lot of different ways to look it up. If you're unclear on how to use these, if we go here and we go to these search options here, I'm going to click on the search options page, and it gives you lots of different ways to look up things. And the way to look for kanji, and they give you all of these different things, and you can look it up by difficulty or when it's being taught in Japan, Japanese school system. This is what we're going to be doing. We're going to look it up by the number of strokes. So you're going to type out hashtag strokes colon and then the number of strokes that you're looking for. So if we go back up into the search bar here, and if I type hashtag strokes colon, and then how many strokes was it? It was 14, right? So I type 14 in there and I click this magnifying glass. And then we're going to see what choices they're given. Now notice there's nothing over here. Over here is where those Chinese characters are found. So if we kind of look here, each of these Chinese characters have 14 strokes. Now I don't see it yet, but click this more kanji and then it's going to give me some more. So I keep going down here. I'm just going to scroll down, scroll down, scroll down, scroll down. I still don't see it. I still don't see it. I'm really hoping more kanji. Okay, we have to be persistent here. We can't give up. Keep going, keep going. Still not seeing it. I don't think I've seen it yet. Have you seen it? I don't know. More kanji. Be persistent. It is not easy sometimes to look these up, and it takes a while. But I keep going down. I keep scrolling, keep scrolling. You know, my eyes are probably going to get pretty tired. I click more kanji here. It's going to take a while because see, there's a lot of Chinese characters with 14 strokes. Okay, and you're going to see why this method isn't necessarily your first option for looking up Chinese characters, but you know, sometimes it's the only one. There it is. There it is. Do you see it? So there we have this Chinese character for solar spirit. And if I click on this, it's going to give me a lot more information about this Chinese character. So this is the Chinese character for solar spirit. It's pronounced tamashi. Tama. It's also pronounced kong in some contexts. And it shows you the stroke order. They give you a GIF here. Pretty cool. It gives you lots of information, shows you other words down here that include that Chinese character. And again, that's by stroke count. So if we were looking at by 14 strokes, it took a while. Okay, so that's method number one. Okay, the second method would be to look at the parts of the Chinese character. These are called radicals. So if I look at the left here, this is one radical. If I look at the right here, this is one radical. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back to jisho.org. I'm going to be looking it up in a slightly different way. Now I'm going to be looking up by radical. And notice right over here next to the search bar, we have radicals. And that's what I'm going to be using. Now, the first part of that Chinese character, I don't see it here. But I do see the second part of the Chinese character. And where did it go? It's over here somewhere. I know I saw it. Oh, there it is. Okay, it's right here. Do you see it? Okay, so that's the right hand side of the Chinese character. If I click on that, then I get all of these options. Now you can see that this part is in all of these Chinese characters. Okay, but here's our Chinese character right here. If I click on that, there it is. And now it shows up in the search bar. And if I click that magnifying glass, I have this right here. Now, if I want to know more about the Chinese character, then I'm going to have to click on that. I think if I put hashtag kanji, it's going to give me a little bit more information. And then we go back to that page. Okay. The last method of looking this up is pretty simple. If you have a digital copy, then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come here and I'm going to cut and paste this. That's the easiest way. If you have a digital copy of the Chinese character, the easiest thing to do is just to come to jisho.org, cut and paste that in the search bar, and then search it up. And again, if I type hashtag kanji, it's going to give me a little bit more information about the Chinese character. Okay. The last way to look up a Chinese character that you don't know of is to take a picture of that. And if you take a picture of that, and let's say, for example, that we screenshot it or we had this image. I tried this earlier, it didn't work. For some reason, it wasn't a clean enough image. But if I have a fairly clean picture of the Chinese character, and if I then upload that to Google Keep, notice I have a screenshot here. If I upload that image, then what I can do is I can click this More button, and if I click More, it's going to grab image text. And then what's going to happen is underneath it, it's going to show up. And then what I can do is I can cut and paste that Chinese character that I've grabbed the image text from, and then I can use that in jisho.org. And so that's probably your best bet if you just have a picture of the Chinese character. Hopefully it's a good picture, because I have found that sometimes this grab image text doesn't work well if the text, or excuse me, if the image, the picture isn't the best quality.